Imagine your husband missing your baby's birth for another family, only to find out your daughter was caught in their web. Or a coworker trying to replace your wife as work husband. Today, we explore 3 stories of betrayal that will make your skin crawl. This is the Backseat Redditor, and things are about to get messy.
AITA for not going home after giving birth because my husband missed it to help our friends? I, 32, just had our second baby a few days ago, and instead of going home, I asked to be discharged to my sisters. I don't know if that makes me an AH or overly emotional or whatever, which is why I'm here. Some background: my husband, 33, and I were teen parents. We had our daughter at 18 and 19, she's 14 now. It's been a long road, and we waited a long time to feel ready to go through it all again. This baby was very much planned and wanted. But ever since I hit the 3rd trimester, I felt kind of alone in it. My husband started spending a lot of time with this couple we know. They're in a similar boat, they had their first as teens too, and just had their second recently. I get that it's a lot for them. Their oldest is 17, and they weren't planning on another, so he's been helping them out. But it went from a nice gesture to almost daily visits. Grocery runs, watching their newborn while they nap, fixing stuff around their house, bringing food over, and sometimes with our daughter tagging along, sometimes without even letting me know he was going. Meanwhile, I was trying to keep up with everything at home, going to appointments alone, dealing with the mess that is late pregnancy. I brought it up to him more than once, and every time, he'd either say I was exaggerating or that he was there, just not in the way I wanted him to be. He kept saying I was being territorial or weirdly competitive about them needing help, which made me question myself even more. I also started noticing changes in our daughter. She's a nice dancer and has an intense schedule, and after going with her dad to help at their house, she'd come back totally spaced out. Quiet. Eating less. I figured she was just tired, but it started to feel off. She almost fell during practice one morning because she was so drained, and her coach made her sit out the rest of the week. That was a big wake-up call for me. I told my husband that enough was enough and we needed to pull back, not just for me, but for her too. He apologized, said he'd keep the visits shorter, only go when it was really needed. The visits were hardly shorter, but my daughter seemed less tired, and I could actually go to sleep with my husband some nights, so I counted it as a win. When I went into labor, I called him from the car while my sister drove me to the hospital. No answer. Texted. Nothing. He showed up about 4 hours after the baby was born with a slushie for me, said he was sorry, but the other couple had a rough night and he didn't want to just leave them stranded. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want a big scene right there in the hospital, but when I could be discharged, I just had my sister take home since my husband wasn't there. Now he's saying I'm being dramatic, that I'm punishing him for helping people who don't have the support we do. He told me I'm being cold and that I'm setting a bad example for our daughter by shutting him out. He's also implied more than once that I'm trying to act like a victim when he was doing what any decent person would do. His mom called yesterday and said I should be ashamed for taking the baby away. I never said anything about keeping our son from him. I've told him he can come see the baby whenever he wants. I've been texting our daughter, keeping up with her, and I plan to be back home the moment I've recovered enough. I'm not trying to split our family. I just needed a break. A quiet space to breathe and actually rest. I'm exhausted, mentally and physically. But now I'm second-guessing myself. Was it wrong to go somewhere else to recover? Should I have just gone home and tried to work it out there? I don't want this to turn into some drawn-out fight or drama, especially not with a newborn in the picture. I don't even know if I'm thinking clearly at this point. Edit, our baby is a boy. Sorry. Update. Hey again, just wanted to thank everyone who commented on the original post and gave honest feedback. I wasn't in the best headspace when I wrote it, but reading through the replies, even the harsh ones, helped more than I expected, and I figured you were owed at least this small update. So 2-ish days after posting, I took my daughter out of school for a few days. I had my sister bring her to her house so we could be in the same space, and I could get a better read on how she was actually doing. I didn't want to come at her all at once, so I let her rest and decompress a bit. Gave her some room to just be a kid again. Sleep in, eat actual food, breathe. Then one afternoon we were doing dishes and just chatting, and I gently asked what it's really been like at the other couple's place. I told her I wasn't mad, just that I wanted to understand. She paused for a while, then told me the truth. She'd kind of been seeing their 17-year-old son. Not officially dating, but spending a lot of alone time together. She said she'd try to remind her dad it was getting late, but the boy would pull her aside and they'd end up hanging out longer. She didn't get into the details, but it was pretty clear what she meant by the way she kept blushing and looking away from me. Her being tired all the time suddenly made a lot more sense. I also asked, carefully, if anything felt off about her dad lately, like if he seemed out of it or off in some way or was acting strange during their visits. She said not really, but that she'd smelled weed once or twice, usually when they were finally about to leave, and he was usually really sweaty at the end of it. She didn't seem too freaked out about it, but it made my stomach turn a bit. When my husband found out I'd taken her out of school and brought her to my sister's, he lost it. He accused me of trying to turn her against him and called it parental interference, like, okay. I told him I just wanted her to rest and have some space. He wasn't hearing it. A few hours later, his mom called me yelling, saying I was trying to steal the baby, isolate our daughter, ruin the family, etc. She left this long voicemail about how I needed to bring his children home where they belong. I haven't responded. I haven't told him what our daughter shared yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to bring it up and how to press him for more details about to why he himself gets up to during those visits other than what I figure out from what my daughter said. So yeah. That's where things stand. Messy. Exhausting. But a little clearer than before. Thanks again to everyone who took the time to comment and offer perspective. It helped more than you know. I'll update again if anything more happens. Edit. I'm sorry this is so jumbled. I wrote it after putting the baby finally to sleep.
AITA for calling my coworker work sister after she called me work husband in front of everyone. I, 34M, work in a small office and we have about 30 people working here. Mary, 35F, is one of my coworkers. We have been working together for 6 years now. We have 6 people in our department, and we have to frequently travel across the state as our work involves overseeing government projects. We always travel in a group of 2. Although my travel partner changes based on the project, Mary and I are generally put on similar projects and enjoy each other's company. My wife also likes Mary. Overall, we have a very healthy work relationship. On to the incident. Yesterday, we had a happy hour in our office, and we were all drinking after work hours and chatting. It was a group of around 10 people that stayed back. Mary was blabbering about how we both have been traveling together so much in the last year. She was roasting me for my habits while traveling, like always forgetting stuff in my hotel room, being sweaty and stinky when I join her for breakfast in mornings, because I go to hotel gym. Everyone was laughing and she was making it sound how unbearable I was to tag along, all in good fun. I also told some funny and sweet stories about her and agreed with her, saying that I can be difficult to be with sometimes. Mary came to me and hugged me tightly and told me that she loves me, and I am her work husband. It was all innocent on surface, but she might have been a bit drunk and just didn't let go of her tight hug. Also, I hate that phrase, as I do have a wife that I promise to be with forever, and not just in non-working hours. After a few seconds, I started becoming uncomfortable and also saw a few people staring at us. So, to diffuse the situation, I took her hands off my shoulder and told her she was my work sister and that is why I love to annoy her so much. That seemed to have upset Mary and she left and went back to her desk and was sobbing silently. I tried to apologize to her, but she told me how embarrassing the whole situation was. She said that she just meant work husband in platonic way, but me calling her work sister made her sound like a creep in front of the whole office. She was also angry that I aggressively removed her hands from my shoulders while hugging. I tried to reason with her that I do not like the work husband phrase, and also people gave dirty looks when she said it. So, I was just trying to make sure people do not take her words in the wrong way. We talked for a few minutes afterwards and Mary calmed down. She hugged me again and left. I felt really guilty afterwards because I can see Mary's point. I made her sound like a creep by implying that she meant something inappropriate when she called me her work husband. However, I was a bit uncomfortable in that situation and just did not want people to call us that, or assume something wrong. Am I the AH for calling Mary my work sister? I am sitting in my office writing this and a bit worried if I embarrassed Mary in front of everyone. Update 1. About calling my coworker Mary my work sister after she tried to call me her work husband in front of the entire office. A lot of you are asking for update, but that sub does not allow me to post update, so I am writing it here. Thanks everyone for your comments and giving me confidence that I did not do anything wrong or inappropriate. As I was sitting in office the next day, I knew things would be a bit awkward between Mary and me. Mary ignored me the whole morning. Initially, I was planning to go and apologize to her, but after the post, I decided that I do not need to do that as I should be the one who was offended. Everyone in the office could see that we were acting weird, and I heard some people gossiping about us. One of the ladies also came to me and asked me if I want to talk about Mary and me. Around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I was sitting in my office working. Mary came into my office and closed the door behind her. She was angry at me and started saying that I need to stop being an asshole and stop ignoring her. I told her to sit and to talk about what is going on. She told me that she feels humiliated, and everyone has been starting at her the whole morning because of what I did. I also stood my ground and told her that I was okay with her making fun of me, but calling me her work husband and hugging me in front of everyone for a long time made the situation awkward. She told me to get over myself and that I should know exactly what she meant. Mary said that I made a big deal of what was supposed to be a joke and made it awkward for everyone. She said calling someone work husband is a normal thing and just means that she knows me intimately like a spouse would. She said that because we spend so much time traveling together, she knows all the intimate details of how I behave outside work. I stopped her and told her that I felt offended by the term work husband because I have a wife and I do not want people to use that term to describe our relationship. I told her that she would not understand as she is single, but as a married man, I really do not want anyone to describe me as a husband in any capacity. She said that I am again misinterpreting what she was saying. She felt that as we have known each other more time than I have been married, she knows me more intimately than even my wife. I have no idea why she feels that way, and I also behave like her husband when we travel together. She went on about how we go out to dinners together after work, how I always insist on having breakfast together in morning, to plan our actions of the day, and I walk around in my underwear, referring to my gym shorts, around her in mornings. She also talked about how we spend hours talking to each other during road trips and how I am the only man she can trust with any secret in her life. She said that I am the definition of work husband, and I am just in denial. I was a bit angry at this point. I told her that I do all that because I consider her my friend and she is delusional if she feels she knows me more intimately than my wife. I told her I do not want to hear that term again and it is extremely disrespectful to my marriage. Only one woman gets to call me her husband and that is my wife. Moreover, if my actions are giving her such ideas, maybe we need to stop being friends. She became apologetic afterwards and told me that she did not mean to disrespect my wife, and it was not her intention. She apologized to me and told me to just let it go. She said that she loves traveling with me and she does not want anything to change between us. She again said that I am misinterpreting her statement and just wants to move on. She came to hug me again, but I just told her it was okay and stepped back. I also talked to my wife about the incident that night. As expected, my wife was angry at Mary and told me that she hates the term work husband. She asked me if Mary has ever flirted with me during our trips or has a crush on me. I truthfully told her that I really have not felt that way and she may have just said that because she was a bit drunk and is now being stubborn about it. My wife said that she feels a bit uncomfortable about Mary now and says that it's strike one for Mary and I need to try and put more distance between us while traveling. If she ever repeat the same behavior again, I should report her to HR. I promised my wife that I would try to reduce my interactions with Mary outside work hours and be more guarded around her. Update 2. Mary, being upset with me for calling her my work sister when she called me her work husband in front of everyone. I'm sorry to leave everyone hanging, but the next few weeks were busy, and the issue was eventually resolved. Thanks to everyone for the comments, they really helped me when I talked to my manager about the situation. However, the last week has been crazy, so I wanted to get some opinions on what I should do next. After my last post, my wife and I were no longer comfortable with Mary's behavior. Although a part of me thought I was overreacting and that it was just part of Mary's personality, I felt the need to protect myself. I requested a meeting with my manager and HR to document my side of the story. I wrote down everything and told them about the incident at the party, as well as Mary coming into my office and the comments she made. I made it clear that while I did not want them to take action against her, I wanted to emphasize that her behavior made me uncomfortable, especially her comments about knowing me better than my wife and remarks about my shorts. My manager had already heard about the incident at the happy hour, as everyone in the office was talking about it. He told me he would try to shake up the travel schedule to minimize our travel together. The issue was that only 4 people in our company generally work on off-site audits, and the other two coworkers did not want to split up because they claimed they worked well together. As a result, I continued traveling with Mary for the next couple of weeks, but it was awkward, and I kept my distance. My manager then called Mary and me to his office and informed us that he was planning to train a new auditor, Carolina, 26F, and set up a schedule where she would travel with me for 1 week and then with Mary the following week. We were asked to train her. I liked this arrangement because it meant I no longer had to travel with Mary. Carolina turned out to be a great travel buddy, and I made sure not to get too comfortable with her. I always dressed professionally when we went for breakfasts, avoided late-night drinks, and maintained healthy boundaries. Things were great until last week. Last Tuesday, I could feel everyone staring at me when I entered the office, and I was immediately called to a meeting with my manager and HR. HR asked if I had anything to report regarding Carolina and if she had made any advances toward me during our work trips. I told them no, that Carolina had been very professional the entire time. I asked why I was being interrogated, and they told me they couldn't disclose any further details, but that Carolina was being investigated by HR for inappropriate conduct. I left the meeting, and Mary came to my office, asking what had happened. She mentioned that she was also told Carolina would no longer be traveling with us and that we were asked to travel together again. I told her I had no idea what was going on. I messaged Carolina to see if she was okay and if she needed to talk. She asked if she could come to my office, and I agreed. Carolina explained that someone anonymously sent messages to her boyfriend, posing as someone from the office over the weekend. The message included screenshots of Carolina sending some inappropriate pictures she had taken in her hotel rooms during our travels, and flirtatious messages. This person claimed to her boyfriend that Carolina was trying to cheat with him at work, and he was just trying to warn them. Her boyfriend went crazy after seeing the pictures, ghosted her, and then sent the messages to HR as revenge. Carolina was in tears, telling me that she had only taken those pictures for her boyfriend and had no idea how they got leaked or how those messages even existed. Her boyfriend was furious because he also received the exact pictures from Carolina and knew they weren't fake. I consoled Carolina, but she's in deep trouble, as our workplace takes such things very seriously, because we work on government contracts, and I'm sure everyone suspects I am the anonymous messenger. I was told that the matter would be investigated, and Mary and I would be working together on the project again. My manager said there was nothing he could do and also mentioned that they might go through my emails and messages on my company phone as part of the investigation into Carolina. Mary seems very happy about the whole situation and keeps talking about how excited she is to revisit the restaurants and bars we used to frequent during off-site trips. She also keeps referring to Carolina as that pervert. The whole thing is just crazy. My wife, of course, believes that I would never do anything inappropriate with Carolina and that I wasn't the anonymous messenger. However, her conspiracy theory is that Mary, who was also traveling with Carolina, may have unlocked her phone and accessed the photos. It feels far-fetched, but the fact is, I'm not thrilled about traveling with Mary again. I don't think I have any other recourse to get off this project except leaving the job, which isn't possible at this time. I know many of you work in HR, and I would appreciate any advice on what I can do next.
AITA for wanting to leave my wife after the birth of my child. My 34M wife, 32F, and I have been married for 7 years. After a miscarriage, she admitted to me that she had multiple affairs over the last 4 years of our marriage. Her last affair ended a year ago. She begged for us to go to therapy to work on our marriage, but I refused to go. During this time, I had moved out of the house. Occasionally, I would go back to take care of the house and animals, and she would constantly try to manipulate me into coming back. I had every intention of getting a divorce, but the process is slow. I hated the betrayal I felt, but I also missed my wife during the separation. One thing led to another, and we had sex, and she got pregnant again. Shortly after the news came, I had to leave for work about 12 hours away from her. She would call to give me updates about the pregnancy and talk about our marriage. We were separated for majority of her pregnancy. I told her that I still wanted a divorce, but I would consider reconciling after the baby was born. After several months away from her, I came to the realization that I could not trust her, nor could I forgive her for her infidelity. I feel like the last 7 years of my life has been a lie. While I was away from her, I met someone and a relationship blossomed between us. I truly feel like I love this woman. She has been made aware that I am still married and that I have a baby on the way. My wife is not aware of my new girlfriend. Fast forward to a month ago, I had to go home for the birth of our baby boy. My wife has been pressuring me to reconcile, but I told her that I plan to divorce her again. After the birth of our baby boy, she has been blaming me for ruining our family because I don't want to stay with her and try to fix our marriage. I want to have a co-parenting relationship with my wife, but she is acting very erratic while I am here for our son. AITA for wanting to leave my wife? Update. Thank you all to those who did not think I was the a-hole here. It's been a tough 2 years. Here's how it went down. I took a paternity test, and my son is confirmed to be mine. I have filed for divorce, but the state in which I lived is very conservative and has a waiting period before it can be finalized. The divorce was filed as uncontested, and I will be paying child support while also staying in his life. I am selling our house, and she is moving to a state close by where my son will only be a couple of hours away. This option also makes her closer to family. Custody arrangements will be updated once she has moved. This has been hard emotionally because she has blamed me for ruining our chance as a family and our son's future. It feels manipulative since I no longer want to be with her and I've taken care of her our entire marriage. My wife still does not know about my girlfriend at the request of my girlfriend. As much as I want to integrate my girlfriend, this will take time to do, and I also felt like my wife doesn't have to know now about her until everything is settled and the divorce finalized. It's been difficult for me being away from my son, but I do get to see him every day. I was there for his birth and 3 weeks afterwards. I will be taking leave again to spend more time with my son, take care of the house, the divorce, and to help get her and my son moved. I am glad this marriage is ending, and while it's tough right now with my son, the mutual goal is to have a co-parenting relationship. Despite the things my wife has said and her wanting to continue the marriage, I feel my son will be better off knowing what an actual loving relationship is. My girlfriend has been very supportive of me, and I'm ready to move on in my life with her. Trying to get any help or legal advice in the state we got married has been a nightmare and has been overall negative to the choice I have already made. The marriage is dead, but I will be in my son's life. I do not agree with the empty values there. Any advice on how to ensure a healthy co-parenting relationship without a lawyer is needed. Update 2. My wife was served with divorce papers and hired a lawyer despite us agreeing on the 50-50 division of marital assets, child support, and limited alimony. She told me that because I was leaving her, she wanted to make sure things were done fairly. She advised me not to get my own lawyer since we already agreed on stuff, but I got one to represent me anyway. I have recently seen my son again despite her efforts to keep me away from him. She has told me that she doesn't want to see me. After expressing how unfair that is, she agreed to coordinate with me to see him. I told her that I have been seeing someone, and she said that she suspected it during our separation but that it didn't matter. She doesn't care that I love my new partner. She believes we can still recover the marriage even though I have moved on. I do not understand how she thinks this after her cheating throughout our marriage and me finding someone new. I told her I am upset that she can't take accountability for the breakdown of the marriage, hurting me and our son. I explained to her why it wouldn't be a good idea to stay together if she truly thinks I cheated on her. She is only concerned with herself and the life I provided to her instead of caring about our son. She destroyed the last 7 years of my life with her and distorted how I saw myself. I tried to get over her infidelity the first time, thinking it was a mistake and something we could work through. I'm not willing to give her a third or fourth chance. I want resolve, but every time the issue comes up she says something that feels manipulative. I will post a final update when we get there.